I'd like to call the Tuesday, June 16th Board of Works meeting to order. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Board Member Romine.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I will second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Public comment from audience or Facebook Live. I have one public comment, I believe. Please step, if you could, to the yellow line. If you could state your name and your address. I'm sorry, could you speak up?
Tiffany Haynes, 420 Laurel Drive, Trail Creek, Indiana. And then just what I'm here for.
Yes.
It's just, I was issued a parking ticket in error on June 9th. I called, and talked with the woman who gave me the ticket with my coworker. She was on speakerphone. I don't know if I'm supposed to read my appeal.
Please just share your thought, and what we'll do is our traffic
Violations officer.
violations officer is not here right now, so we'll take your information, discuss it with her, and then either respond to you via Board of Works or sooner by the traffic
Okay.
violations officer.
I'm gonna read my appeal.
Please.
Just because it's better that way.
And welcome.
Okay, thank you. So my coworker Brent Bannock and I went out on our break and moved our cars at 9:40 a.m. At the time, my car had been marked. I drove around 2 blocks and parked several spaces down from where I had originally parked. The mark was gone from driving around 2 blocks. At 11:30, I went to move my car with Brent again on my break, and I had a ticket. It had not been 2 hours, so I went to look at my tire, and it had 2 fresh markings. I took pictures of the markings. Brent's car had 1 marking and no ticket. We parked near each other. I called the phone number on the ticket on speakerphone, and Brent was with me. The woman who answered, after asking the ticket number, told me she's the one who wrote the ticket. I explained to her that there is no time on my ticket, and I had gone out to move it at 11:30. She told me that there is a time of 11:21 on her ticket, and said she doesn't know how mine doesn't have a time. Side note, I think I have the original ticket, and I brought it with me. I explained to her, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so she said hers said 11:21, and even at 11:21, that wouldn't be 2 hours if that were true. She then said that she could void the ticket. I explained to her,
I'm sorry, the violations officer said she could void it.
whoever I spoke with on the phone, she said she could,
Do you have a name by chance?
it's the person who wrote the ticket. Let me look at the
Okay.
ticket, maybe it's on there. Officer 503, I don't know.
Okay.
I also explained to her that my car had been double marked. She then said that she marked my car and she does not double mark cars. I told her that I do have pictures of it. She then told me that's good that I took pictures because she has access to video and she will go and watch the video to see if I actually moved my car like I said I did. She said after she reviews the video, she will call me back. She took my name and number, but she never called me back. At one point in the conversation, though, she did ask if I parked in the same spot, like maybe thinking the car mark didn't come off, but I told her, no, I didn't mark in the same spot, and I went around 2 blocks and it wasn't. I make sure it's off.
Sure.
So, that's why I'm here today. I would have no problem paying a $10 ticket if I owed it, no problem at all, but this was an error.
Could we have a copy of your information?
Absolutely, yeah.
Or can you leave that?
Yeah, I would like you to make a copy, so I can.
Okay, we'll have,
But this has the ticket with no time.
okay.
And I have pictures on my cell phone of the double mark. I mean, you can see it's 2 fresh marked. But, I mean, it should have the date on it and everything.
And maybe we can get that, can you email that?
And I said, sure,
Okay.
who would I email?
I'm going to write my,
Also, just in a bigger picture, because we've had discussions with the commissioners in the past to say, they were supportive of, hey, we want to make sure we're opening our streets for customers to shop and so forth. And does the county have enough parking available for their employees right now outside of the street parking? Is there enough, or is that an issue?
It was an issue. Now, like, I'm able to park, like, right across the street, but it was a big issue, especially like when they were, like, before the
county.
quarantine and everything, when they were doing the bridge.
Right.
We really didn't have anywhere to park. We were moving our cars.
I just hate to see them.
For my office, I don't know about.
I just hate to see employees having to move their car every 2 hours if there's not enough parking. So I didn't know if they're,
It's not often, but if we can get into the parking lot across the
You
street,
give those to her.
like, that's where I'm at today.
okay.
If I can get in there, then that's where I want to park.
Tell Sheriff Boyd to do something.
Okay.
Mayor, if I may, our violations officer is actually on her way back into the office. I don't know if you're able to wait for a few minutes and then she
You may
can,
want to talk to her if that's okay.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. Actually, Brent was supposed to be here with me today too, because I didn't want to talk to him. We moved our cars together,
Okay.
but he, had an accident last night.
But at worst case, you can leave your information. I know you've got to work, and she can get in touch with you.
So do you just want me to wait over here?
Here, or you can head back to the, and please.
The paperwork that you just, we should make copy, did you turn that into us? Yes, I emailed that to, are you the secretary? I emailed it to you, to you, and then copied another, because you're the one who emailed me the form. Yes, I did. And then I emailed it back to you. And then I emailed you and asked you the date of the next meeting.
I don't remember saying that this was the meeting was gonna be on the agenda.
Oh, I have the email.
That it was gonna be on the agenda today.
You didn't say that, you just said July 7th at 9 AM. I said, do I need to be there? And you're like, you don't need to be there.
Well,
I'm sorry, this is my fault that they don't know about it.
Oh, I didn't know they didn't know about it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
Thank you.
saying. This is my fault.
Oh,
I didn't know that it had been responded to. That's what usually happens. It gets responded to by the person who writes the ticket, and then it goes to
two
them.
people responded, so you and someone else were communicating.
Tiffany, what we'll do is, because this is our, and it's okay, we'll wait for our violations officer to get here. If you need her to wait, or can
I
she
can
just?
come right, I'm right across the street. I could.
Well, I'll tell you what, let her have a chance, because she's going to need to review it anyway. So if you just want to leave it, and then she can contact you. Is your cell on here? Oh, yeah, 316, okay.
and if you'll send those pictures, I gave you my email, that's my email address. Perfect, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tiffany, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for coming prepared. We appreciate that.
So I would like to explain before we move on, number one, we are not wearing masks here, even though we're requiring the public to wear them, because we do have these wonderfully donated
Sneeze guards
sneeze guards to protect us, and we have everybody else 6 feet away.
by Dave Lehman.
I was going to say, Dave Lehman, we appreciate your time and efforts to make sure that we are all safe here. So that's why we're not wearing masks. But also, I want to reiterate from last evening, some things were said that, in my mind, were unacceptable and inappropriate. LaPorte, our community, is a welcoming community, and we are not going to tolerate statements that are made that make individuals, groups, people unwelcome. Whether individuals don't agree with a stance, LaPorte is a community that we welcome everybody here and want everybody here in our community to enjoy, and they have a right to come here to City Hall to share their opinion, and we welcome that on a daily basis. So we're going to continue to work hard. We're going to continue to get better, and we will address this, as well as making sure all people in our community do feel welcome. If you wanna add.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree and am in consensus with what the mayor has said, and strongly urge the community to be welcoming, to be open-minded, and to maybe forgive, and hopefully we can forget what one person spoke out about.
Thank you. Clerk Treasurer Parthun,
Okay,
claims approval.
we have second quarter payroll in the amount of $1,926.87.
I'll make a motion that we approve the second quarter payroll.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
We have payroll for June 26, 2020 in the amount of $408,999.29.
I'll make a motion that we approve the payroll for June 26th.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
We have water claims in the amount of $382,428.18, which includes payment in lieu of taxes for June and July, a water depreciation transfer, and SRF bond and interest payments.
I'll make a motion that we approve the water claims.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
We have wastewater claims in the amount of $265,855.33, which also includes June and July payment in lieu of taxes. And then wastewater also paid $50,000 back toward their loan on the 2015 sewage construction bond.
I'll make a motion that we approve the wastewater claims.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. And I would like to mention to Mr. Jackson, thank you for the tour that he gave Courtney and I, a brief one, but some of the costs here, when you see are large numbers, what it takes to keep our community safe is required, and you start seeing some of the Alexander Chemical cost, and you can match it up with what we saw. It's a neat thing for the public, and I'm excited that hopefully we can schedule tours in our water and wastewater departments, so the public, when we have discussion about rates and so forth, they'll see why. And I mean, when you talk about wastewater and stormwater fees, that the community's only paying $16 per wastewater and roughly $16 per stormwater.
$5.49 for stormwater.
Can't get lunch for $16 sometime, and people are paying it a month. So I think it's an amazing process that we're going to have. I think we'll even get Ted Yoakum there from the Herald Argus to take a tour, right, Ted? You're ready. I want you to see firsthand. So that's good. So we did pass that, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, we've got civil city claims in the amount of $1,861,808.22. And I just wanted to note that we had several semi-annual bond payments, which include the fire truck lease payment, the 2012 TIF 1 bond payment, the 2015 B lease revenue bond for TIF 1, 2015 A lease revenue TIF 2 bond payment, fire lease refunding bond for the Northside Fire Station, 2017 RDC GO bond, and then as well as the bond payments, we had July trash, and then we had police and fire pensions that each paid back their temporary loans to seed it.
I will make a motion that we approve the civil city claims.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. I do have one question. The July trash service, we pay that ahead?
Yeah, we have a
So we
contract.
just
that
pay
we
at the beginning of the month before the service? Okay. Any other questions? All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That's it for claims.
Thank you. So before we go to department heads, I would like to mention, we did have a couple retirements. Bill Breton, 22 years on the police. Button, I mean, I'm sorry.
I was gonna
I got too many names. Bill Button, I apologize, Bill. 22 years on the police force, amazing service, and we wish him the best. And then Todd Taylor, Todd, 41 years, water department. Again, amazing in leadership to keep our community safe. And when you hear about things like Flint, Michigan, and recognize that the community, sometimes we all take for granted how lucky we are to have fresh water, clean water, and no issues. Thank you for 41 years of service, Todd. And we also have on our Board of Works, Tim Werner, our new water department superintendent. So he has big shoes to fill, but we're excited about what he's going to do. So we'll put him under the heat lamp today and give him some pressure at his first Board of Works meeting. But we welcome him. And then I know we had some arrivals. Is there anybody that wanted to speak publicly for public comment that we can put you in so you don't have to wait? Okay, great. Well, welcome anyway. We'd like to go to now department reports. So what I'll do, since I'm a technology king here, we'll just go, I'll call each one of you at a time. If you could give a brief, and I would like to reiterate brief, to the point, update from your department. Bert Cook.
Mayor, I have no update this morning, but I'll be here to talk about 105 Coy Boulevard if you need.
Beth West, Transport.
Transport's back running. We're also back charging. We had 117 fares yesterday, so we're staying even. Everybody was excited to be purchasing passes again, so things are looking up.
That's great. I know Michigan City has had an issue with COVID increase with their transport. We'll also maybe talking about requiring customers to mandate masks maybe besides our drivers.
Yeah, we are actually offering masks to all of our riders and asking them if they wouldn't mind putting them on. So far, it seems to be a welcoming thing. So I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem. We're not actually limiting the number of people, but we're keeping an eye as to how many people we are putting on a bus to try and help with that also.
Great. Chief Breton.
Okay, I've got, we had the agility test for 7 officers, each 7 passed 2 weeks ago. We're doing interviews Friday. Hopefully we're gonna hire 4 out of that group. We're going to be taking an application, hand delivering it to an active officer in a town southwest of here. And I have a meeting tomorrow on the citizen reporting. We're gonna have a proposal on that to change the way we do things. That's all I have right now.
The force of the future. We're going to change what police does. And again, I encourage the public to review the 2018, the 2019 year-end report that the department puts together. And right now, with 4 officers, if you hire, what number will that put us to?
Technically 44, but they'll be waiting. We have 3 going to the academy within a month, and then the 4 we hire will be later, probably this winter, if we have an academy. That all depends on the COVID situation.
Well, and as well, it's a reminder as we look at society in general, as across the nation, but also in our community, those reports will show that our department, our police, are just chasing their tail with the amount of calls. We cannot be everything to everybody. Every time there seems to be something to do, they just say, let police do it. And I think we have mental health issues, drug issues. I mean, we're going to address the drug traffickers. We've begun to do that, and there'll be no tolerance for the drug traffickers. But the mental health, those individuals that may have a drug issue, I'm not sure why the call out would be to the police department, bringing a law enforcement individual, professional with a gun into a situation versus maybe mental health professional, somebody else. I'm not sure why, the police have to chase loose dogs or Narcan. We have the fire department that can address that situation. I haven't figured out how to do my watch, so I apologize. But we have to begin having some discussion with the public about what's required of our police. We want them in the neighborhood, developing relationships, knowing what's happening, not just chasing their tail, trying to keep their head above water. Would you agree, Chief?
Right, and a simple damage report where there's no suspect, that takes an officer off the street 45 minutes to an hour to type up that report. And what we're looking at doing is having the citizens be able to report that. It's still reported, but they could do that through their smartphone. We're talking about a kiosk. We're throwing several things out there, and we're going to discuss that tomorrow at
Thank
10
you.
o'clock. We have a Zoom meeting.
Well, and I have another option for you as well that may be inexpensive, so you'll have two options to choose from. And we'll wear masks in the meeting, but that's, again, reminding everybody, we have the sneeze guards, and that's why we're not currently wearing masks, and we're 6 foot from anybody else here, so thank you, Chief. Tim Werner, and let's make sure we're all watching Tim and can review him on his report and make recommendations. Mr. Werner.
Morning. Only a couple things going on this morning. One of our big production wells out of the Kankakee well field, we had annual flow and pump test done a couple weeks ago on them, and it looks like we have a hole in one of the casings up by the pump. So I did get emergency approval to get that pulled this week and taken care of with the heat and everything. I also talked with Jessica this morning about releasing a hot weather memo, just kind of guiding the public on when to water, how much to water their grass with the heat that we're dealing with right now. I thought it was appropriate to get that out. And one last thing, I just want to let everybody know that Monday, the splash pad at Bethany Lutheran, 20,000 gallons of water went through it to keep people cool. I thought that was a nice figure to throw out there this morning, just to let everybody know it's definitely being used. That's about all I have right now.
Thank you, Tim. Jerry Jackson?
Got a couple things. There's got a call about a pond it's on the Patton Cemetery property, and it backs up into some of the houses along Monroe Street. The storm sewer that drains that is plugged. It's all on private property, but it drains some of Rumley Street. We've got a couple, and Chestnut, we've got a couple roads that drain down into that pond. So when it rains, that pond's going up, and it's taken over some of the yards and sunk some fences. I'll send some maps and everything so the board can be kind of up to speed, but it looks like it's, we don't exactly have access. It's all on private property, but we do have drainage going there. So it might be appropriate to look for some easements and get a long-term program on how to fix that issue for those residents. The only other thing I got on, our crew is working on cleaning our primary number 1 digester. That's a big project. We'll be working on that for a month and a half or so this summer. Heat's not helping the guys out there, but they're a good crew and they're getting at it. That's all I got for the moment.
Jerry, is that Mr. Brandt's property?
It is.
Thank you for doing that. That's awesome. And it's something that we can solve if we can get on private property.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money. It's some ditch work, really, I think is the best way to go about it. But I think we should ask for easements if we're going to do it, so that now there's a clear ownership of who has that authority to go in there and fix the problem, and we've got access.
That's one that I think you'll have full support from us here, so whatever you need.
Thank you.
Mike Frey, Street Department, you've been busy. Go ahead.
Right now we're finishing up stump grinding and doing some more total patching. We'll be doing the lots over on Waverly and other spots and doing some trimming.
Mike, I appreciate the work in Waverly and behind the skate park there where there were quite a few holes. You filled those. I think they look great. It's great for the community and outside residents that drive in there. That'll be somewhat smooth. And you're also, 4th of July is now over, and I think you have the street sweepers out.
Yeah, street sweeper out. He's doing downtown this week, and he'll be getting other areas besides after downtown's done.
Thank you. Chief Snyder?
Mayor, Sam Doig started with the department yesterday, so his first day is going well. That'll bring us up to 44. And on the same note, the Merit Commission did hold their testing. They had delayed the mental aptitude testing for the new list until Saturday. They did do that a week ago last Saturday. So they did have 13 individuals that will be considered for the oral interviews moving forward to form their list for the next couple of years. And also, just you'll be dealing with 105 Boyd Boulevard here in a little bit. But as a side note to that, the new fire station looks to be complete right around August 1st, and give us a date of that to move into, or very close to it. That's all I have.
Great job. Sam Doig is a great young man. That's awesome that he's going to be part of our team. Just remind him when you see him that to make sure he has gas filled in his car, because my wife may not be there when he has the fire truck and needs to fill his tank with gas to take care of him.
I'll definitely do that. That's good to know.
Yeah, we got to throw that out there. All right, Mr. Schreiber.
Yes, just want to update everybody on some projects we have going on. The amphitheater is nearing completion of the expansion. Arts in the Park, and too many volunteers to even name right now have been feverishly working to get it completed, because Arts in the Park will begin Thursday. The act is small town, and we do want to remind people that we need 6-foot social distancing. Masks are highly recommended. Stay home if you're feeling any type of symptoms or ill. And just please, more than anything, just be courteous of others out there. We'd like to have a nice crowd, but we want to have a socially distanced and very well managed crowd out at the amphitheater in Fox Park on Thursday. A lot of people may have noticed work has started on the Unity Park water feature. That should be completed at some point in early August. We also have projects getting ready to start with the Stone Lake shoreline improvements along Lakeshore Drive within the next couple weeks. Our tennis court renovations should be getting started here within the next week or so. We expect bids in on the new Stone Lake kayak launch on Wednesday. Also, a new playground will be put in at Warsaw Park. That construction, we already did the demo. The construction should start July 20th for the installation. We have a night bike ride coming up on Friday at Beechwood Golf Course. All details are on our website and on Facebook. And even though Mark Kosher isn't there, he always wants to know what's going on at Foodie Tuesdays today. And it's brisket, biscuit, and they'll be there from 10:30 to 2:30 at Unity Park.
You have a lot going on, Mark. That's health and wellness for the community, and it's been amazing to see between Beechwood, the lakes, all the activities. So great job.
Thank you.
Nick Minnick.
We should see paving starting back up for our first paving program for the year. We still have Clay Street, 2nd Street, Wasserman, Cook, Hines, and Pulaski Street to complete. So they wanted to wait until after the 4th of July to get started on that work again, try and make sure that they didn't have any complications during that holiday weekend. Lakeshore Drive, as Mark mentioned, we have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for Thursday. After that point, we'll have a better understanding of schedules. And we'll be able to get more information out to the public on when that project will be started and what the schedule will look like. And then additionally, I gave a brief presentation to the city council last night regarding our local tracks project, which is a grade separation or an overpass project at Tipton Street. That project we'd like to keep moving forward, and at some point in the near future, we'd like to ask the mayor to sign a concurrence letter based on the engineer's report that they provided us, just concurring that the direction they're going is the direction the city believes is the best option, not necessarily a real detailed full buy-in of the final project, but allows them to keep moving forward.
And Nick, you and I will be speaking to the business owners down in the area, updating them. Look forward to that conversation.
Yeah, correct.
Jen Knoll.
Morning.
Good morning.
Just a couple of things. Moving forward with the diversity initiative, we are going to be partnering with the Indiana Civil Rights Commission on that and the LaPorte County Public Library. So looking forward to that in the next few months. Also, we want to welcome Grace Roman, who is a new employee, administrative assistant in the planning department under Mr. Tom Casey. And then Nick Minnick and I did finish interviews for the project engineer position, and we have an accepted offer for that position, so that position is now closed. Looking forward to welcoming her in the next, I believe she'll start on July 20th.
Wait, are you saying Nick Minnick has someone working in his office, has hired somebody?
He will, yeah.
I just had to hear that twice to see if that was for real, if this wasn't just a April Fool's joke.
No, we have a really great person who is going to be starting, so looking forward to getting her on board and getting her started in Nick's department.
Great, thank you. I believe Mary Ann Richards might be sitting in for Tom Casey, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm here, but what do you want to know? CDBG is real busy with working on demolition projects. I just finished up the last round of the owner-occupied rehab program. We'll be beginning a new round of the homeowner repair program. We have our CDBG COVID dollars that I'm working on drawing down. There will be 5 grants given in that, primarily for rental assistance and the food pantry, hot meals, prescriptions, utility bills. That's about it.
And Tibma Bakery on schedule. I love
That's
that
on
you're
the
doing that.
agenda, right? Where hopefully we've got quotes, decent quotes for demolition of Tibma.
That's awesome. Thank you. Well, I think that's everybody on right now. If Tom Casey, I think I caught him. Come on in, department head meeting. Any updates? If you just want to come to the yellow line, give a quick one with your mask. He made the mistake of peeking his head around the corner. Go ahead, sir.
I literally just walked in the door, but happy to update you. Hi, everyone.
Good morning.
Well, I think the first thing is a lot of positive comments about the lights on Lincoln Way and Monroe. People are excited about what you did there. You got people thinking that there's more to come.
Thanks, and there is. I first off want to apologize that I did not come to the Board of Works to seek approval for the lighting project, but we will come back once we have our final plan on how that's going to work. But the idea is to create in this time of the virus and a lot of restrictions on what we can do with our families and what we can do and just traveling around and getting out, is to create an atmosphere downtown where people can be socially distanced with one another and also support the restaurants. So the idea is to create a small area where we'd have outdoor seating that people can share, possibly entertainment in that small area, but we would also have a list of the restaurants that people can go to, and might be one night per month that would be open and available to people. So if people want to pull the tables together and get together, they can, or it's entirely up to them. We wouldn't be enforcing anything, just creating a small area for citizens to take advantage of downtown businesses and sit down and enjoy evening.
That's going to be fantastic. Thank you. Just don't let the Herald Argus get the scoop on this, because I know you don't want it out yet. So watch, he's sitting here.
No, we're still working on it. But happy to answer any questions about the process.
Thank you, Mr. Casey.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye, you too.
All right, so that takes care of department heads. Thank you. Anybody that does not have something on the agenda can go ahead and get to their day, enjoy it. New business, request for use LPHS grad parade. This was an item that due to COVID, the high school is trying to do some special things for seniors. They had a parade yesterday. I want to thank everybody involved to make it a success and allow those kids to be recognized. With that, we just need official approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and I second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Matt Hagenow will be sitting in for Nick Otis. Request permission to accept bid for M Details.
Yes, this, good morning, this relates to 105 Boyd Boulevard, the property. There was one bid submitted, complies, Nick has reviewed it, and complies with all the requirements, so the request is that it be accepted.
So I have, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second for 105 Boyd Boulevard. Mr. Cook is here. If you could give some brief detail, Mr. Cook?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning to the board. You'll remember that we authorized to go out for bids for 105 Boyd Boulevard. We've since received one bidder that met the criteria that was included in the bid. The bid came in at $375,000, which we were very pleased with. That was the high of the two appraisals. If you remember, we have to take the average of the two, but this was actually the high of those two appraisals. So very pleased about that. We presented to the city council at their meeting last night. Typically that occurs, the city council has to sign off on any liquidation of property like this. They've given that blessing conditional on the Board of Public Works approving at today's meeting. So we would strongly recommend we move forward with this and get this property transferred and allow them to construct on it. So happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. And I believe we have the dollars that will go into,
The general fund, and then we will ask the council for approval to move it to the rainy day fund.
which I think is very important to start building our rainy day fund so that the next time we have a pandemic or other things, we will be taken care of.
Right. Where will the cost to demo the building come from?
Out of the sale of the property.
Out of the sale, okay. Before it goes to the rainy day fund, in other words?
Yep.
Net of, okay, wonderful. And do we have a timeline on when we're gonna start doing demo then? If we're slated for the new fire station to be done on August 1st, they'll have some time to move and get everything out, and then the demo will happen soon thereafter? Yeah,
That's correct.
okay.
Great. So I do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Request permission to allow the mayor.
It should say allow the mayor to execute the documents necessary to complete the transaction. So this just relates to, the bid has been accepted to the sale and the actual closing, and obviously there will be documents that need to be signed. So we just need a formal approval for the mayor to execute those documents to make this happen.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. And does that take care of the 105 Boyd Boulevard, or do you also need the request authorization to?
We need the next one, which is the authorization to solicit bids for the demo work. That's also part of that transaction.
I'll make a motion that we solicit quotes for demo of 105 Boyd Boulevard.
I have a motion and I second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Mary Ann Richards, open CDBG quotes for demo of 404 McCullum or Tidma Bakery.
Courtney should have quotes. They were due yesterday by 11:59 a.m.
I do have two, Mary Ann, two quotes.
We do have two quotes.
And then you have a scorecard in front of you, the abstract of quotes, if you need something to document the pricing.
Okay. The first quote I'm going to open is from Pavey Excavating Company Incorporated. I'm gonna look. Make sure I didn't drop anything. That's usually what happens. Okay, the total for this one shows, for this quote shows $168,900.
Who's that for?
Pavey Excavating. Do you want me to, okay. And Nick Minnick will review these?
Nick Minnick, you and Mary Ann will review these. Tom Casey, I assume.
For completion. And this, oh, I'm sorry, this quote is from Jay Schaffner, General Contractor Incorporated. And it looks like the total for this one is $28,500.
So,
Courtney, was the first bid 168?
$168,900.
900? Okay, that's what I thought.
so do I have, it's interesting, I'm not sure if we want a motion, we have a vast range of quote here for what we hope is the same work.
I would review the bids and make sure that
So,
they comply with the bidding requirements.
so do we want, I hate to wait for another 2 weeks, but do we want, so we'll make, we'll have Jessica make a,
Weeks, or have it
I think
subject
you-
to approval by engineering and Mary Ann and the mayor
Well, you
move
can do that
forward?
too, but one way or another, whatever whatever the board prefers, but obviously these need to be reviewed, given the huge discrepancy.
Yeah, I
Tom,
agree.
generally, we have 2 weeks to review the quote, and then we award a contract at the next Board of Works meeting.
so you weren't planning on awarding it today?
No.
Okay,
I
so,
would prefer to take them under advisement and then make a recommendation at the next Board of Works meeting.
thank you.
Yeah.
So we'll put those, you don't need a motion then, so,
You're not gonna close by then.
perfect. We will put those to Mr. Casey, yourself, and Mr. Minnick, and review the demo.
Perfect.
So next, thank you, Beth West, transport fares and/or service hours adjustment policy.
Since we're federally funded, we have to have a policy in writing.
Beth, can you, I'm sorry, Beth, can you hold for one moment?
Sure.
Okay, so we do need a motion, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to review, to have engineer and Mary Ann and Tom Casey review the bids.
I second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Beth West.
Like I said, since most of our funding comes from FTA, the Federal Transit Association, we have to have certain guidelines if we decide to make any hour changes or fare changes. And talking in with NERC, we needed to have something actually written as a policy. So you should have received copies of the
Yes.
policy that was written. NERC is in agreements with it. They feel the FTA would be fine with it. It was executed last week. And what we're hoping to do, if the board signs off on it, is to implement hour changes. We used to run 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. After looking at the numbers last year, it was determined we didn't do a lot of service between 7 and 9 p.m. during the week. And the main portion of our fares on Saturdays happened between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. So we would like to have our hours changed to 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. starting August 1st, along with 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. We think it would be better only for our drivers, along with the public, also actually getting the ultimate service out of the transport buses.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. I just want to point out Beth has done a lot of great work to review. Obviously, we're in a tough financial situation with transport, and we're changing that around. And she's taken a lot of survey and looked at the numbers to maximize our service capacity, and certainly appreciate all you're doing to make it a viable department.
You're welcome.
Jen Knoll, UMR authorization for Springbuck.
Hello. So the first three documents I have are referencing Springbuck, so I'd like to just kind of present those together because they're all essentially the same. One letter is to Magellan Prescription Management. Another letter is to UMR, and the other letter is authorizing Wellport to have access to the data through Springbuck. So Springbuck is a data analytics platform for our health insurance, and also the claims that run through Wellport. So what this allows us to do is essentially it gives the data to the care coordinators, and we can then better, I guess, proactively reach out to those members who are in low risk, moderate risk, and high risk categories. We've had the agreement with Springbuck before, a couple of years ago. Right now we have it set up again. So this is just kind of a renewal for Springbuck, and then it is new to Wellport. So Wellport signed on to also be using Springbuck. They were using a different health analytics platform prior to this year, but they've since signed on with Springbuck. So we're asking for authorization to renew the contracts for the data sharing with Springbuck for those three entities.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second discussion. I would just like to add, working out of home during this COVID discussion isn't always what it's made up to be, is it? It's not always fun and games.
Yeah, it's terrible. We have construction going on the exterior of the house, and I can hardly hear myself speak, so I apologize.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Right, next document I have is the plan sponsor agreement for the dependent eligibility audit. We have never done this for the city of LaPorte, so Courtney and I looked at this, and we'd like to move forward with having an eligibility audit for dependents on our health plan, just ensuring that everybody who's on the plan is eligible. So this will take it's a process where we're going to be asking for documentation proving that the dependents are related to you, or that you have guardianship, things like that. So it will be something that we're asking members to be providing documentation for. But like I said, the city has never done this. And so we're looking forward to doing this every, 5 years or so, starting now. So asking for your authorization to allow us to move forward with that dependent eligibility audit.
So moved.
Second. So I have a motion and a second. All in favor state by saying, or any other discussion? First, I apologize.
No, I was just going to say, Jen, I'm really glad to see that we're doing this. I think this is important from an internal control perspective to make sure that we're capturing and documenting and retaining all the appropriate records, and to make sure that the people who are eligible are given the option to be part of the plan, and those that maybe should not be included aren't. So I'm really glad to see this happening, and I think the cost is very fair for this audit.
Agree, thank you.
No further discussion. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
And lastly, it just closed out on me, but it's the COVID-19 mandate and plan changes amendment to our insurance plan. So this essentially waives the cost sharing for any COVID-related testing. So we're just, hopping on board with what UMR recommends, and we're making that change to our plan. So asking for your authorization on that mandated plan change.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Jen, thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Breton, request permission to hire. I like those words.
This is basically, I'm just asking for permission with this next group. Captain Dennis Mahena is retiring, September 1st. I just wanted to get a jump on, so I'm not coming back here in September and asking for permission to hire.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. And Chief Breton, I appreciate you've been working on finding individuals of color and working on matching that up with our community. So we certainly appreciate that. That's a good move.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Jerry Jackson and Nick Minnick, I'm not sure, but our Chief of Staff, Annette Leffler, I'm not sure what they've done wrong, that Jerry and Nick are always last on the agenda on a consistent, I wouldn't take it personally, I don't know, but we'll move with Jerry Jackson first.
Well, that puts Nick dead last then, huh?
Saving the best for last.
I'm requesting permission to replace our SCADA computer. This is the computer that the treatment plant operators monitor and control the treatment plant and monitor and control our 30-odd pump stations and the lake drains. You know, we've got them scattered all over town, these pump stations. This computer allows us to do that. The job one man in the second and third shift can monitor that whole system and be in control of it and find out if there's problems. We couldn't have done that with this technology wasn't available like 25 years ago, and since we implemented, we're down 3 employees overall because of this level of automation. So it's a cost savings piece of equipment, but you have to update it. The software that runs on it is about $22,000. It's called Ignition. It has the feature that it can share whatever operation screens anyone wants all simultaneously. So if the sewer crew's out working on a pumping station, they can have the appropriate screen up, turn things on and off, check alarms. Same time, the guy at the treatment plant who's fixing a pump, he's got a different screen up that he can work on. We'd hire an electrical engineer from Shambaugh and Sons to help us with the conversion. In the long haul, we maintain it. Jim McMahon here in the shop has got the capability to modify it and make additions. We just need some help from Shambaugh making the transition. So the total project cost is about $32,000, and I sent out an email with some of these details and embarrassingly said that current computer is running Windows XP, not 7, but XP. So this is kind of past due to make the update.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Go ahead.
Jerry, I was just gonna say, anytime I see with software, the word conversion makes me, twitch a little bit. So we feel confident, because this is a pretty old system, and moving from that far back to 20 years forward, are we feeling warm and fuzzy about the process and the people that are going to be handling that?
I've had experience with Barb White from Shambaugh and Sons, and she's an electrical engineer, very, very capable, as is Jim McMahon. You ask a really good question, and the thing that makes me have a warm, fuzzy feeling about it and I'm comfortable is that these systems run on a network. So I have the treatment plant and all the remote sites all running on a common Ethernet network. And so the old system could sit there and chug away and do its job, while the new system is also on the network at the same time. Okay. And we're building it, checking it, making sure it works. We'll have both systems running simultaneously for a while till we're comfortable that both systems work, then we'll kill the old one.
Oh, that's great. I love hearing that.
It's an excellent question, because this thing runs the whole treatment plant. You can't just, you're exactly right. It's got to be a smooth transition.
And what's the time frame, Jerry, to complete the transition again?
We're planning on having the PC and the software all ready together, ready to go, for the engineer to show up about middle to end of August. Her availability will dictate that somewhat, and it's about a week's transition. They'll spend programming it and getting the transition completed.
You got a great team. Thank you for this. Because of Jim McMahon and the others, you know, I see this, I'm not as worried. I see it as a smooth transition.
I think we can make it happen. I don't see, we have kind of a fail-safe that the old system will keep running.
So I have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Thank you.
Basement grant applications, Martinez and Hamilton, if you want to do both at the same time.
As you said, there's two of them, 1408 J Street. The quotation for that work came from H&G and it was $2,425. The other address is 1705 K Street. So I got one where the numbers and letter streets here we've been talking about, one on K and one on J. The second, 1705 K Street. The initial quote for that work was $3,980, and they were going after a second quote. I don't have that in front of me. Either way, the city's contribution to both of these is $1,500 each, and they'll be free of basement backups from here on out.
Yeah, wonderful.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So I have a motion for both Martinez and Hamilton locations. All in favor, or I'm sorry, discussion? And Jerry, this is a great program where these are obviously new based on that recent flooding, based on the addresses.
It is, and they really got hit hard in that area. And we'd already done basement backup programs in that area, and they were successful. So it's awfully nice to see that they didn't get hit a second time and we're fixing some more problems.
Well, and again, this brings to the discussion, you know, right now, there's not capability financially to fix some of the problems of the street drain, but this is why we want to have conversation with the public. I mean, you have to look at the letter streets, the number streets especially, and to do this work that's necessary. It's not a fun discussion to have, but again, people are paying how much during this tough time per month? For
the
that?
stormwater fees, five and a quarter, you know, and the sewer bill's about 25. So they're around $30 each. And our fees are lower by a significant amount than other communities our size. So we've got some room to come up to the average and fix some problems.
Well, that's the key. The work or those, any increases that may happen would all be going into fixing and repairing the old infrastructure or updating the old infrastructure so that people aren't walking out of their homes in knee deep of water, especially in a lot of those areas. And again, you see what cable, no offense to Comcast, what internet costs, what cable costs out there, what a night out for one dinner cost versus what you're charging. And we want to fix these problems, but we welcome the public to come in and look at the financials, to tell us where to pull the money from if they don't want to pay those increases to get this work done.
Absolutely. We want to be out transparent in this transition, in this change, and look, you know, change of rates, and be upfront on what projects we intend to attack, and give the public a chance to say, hey, they want their project brought to the fore. So that discussion needs to happen.
So with that, I do have a motion and a second. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
And saving the best for last, Nick Minnick.
I have pay application number 1 for our 2020 street paving project. This work is through June 10th, I believe. Yeah, June 10th. It's in the amount of $357,470.23. This does include retainage, so we've taken retainage out. Recommend approval of this pay application.
No, we don't have that sheet. So can you update us, Nick, just what does that include? So that, what streets were paved?
Most of this is, this is payment for the first few projects. So this would be like Hillcrest and Southmore Road. So it's just the first invoice from Walsh and Kelly for the work that they've completed up until the 10th.
So did I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for the first payment.
I have a motion and I'll second. The discussion also, as you bring up Hillcrest, to you, thank you, and to Jerry Jackson, thank you. I think Gene Downs, who's had a water issues for a few years, you both were able to address that and allow me just to take credit for it, so thank you. And seems to be extremely happy, and she's already been tested through the water storm, or the storm of a couple weeks ago or so. So, again, I hope the public recognizes the team that we have in place with old infrastructure and the things we're doing, and great work, because you're making a difference. So with that, I have a motion and a second. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Pay application number 7, new fire station.
We also have pay application number 7 for Larson Danielson Construction for the new fire station. This pay application is in the amount of $158,122.43. As Chief Snyder mentioned earlier, the project is going very well, nearing completion, and would recommend payment of this pay application as well.
I'll make a motion that we pay for application number 7 for the fire station.
I'll second it. I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Thank you. Unfinished business. So the unfinished business is on in Great Point. Board member Romine of the traffic ticket, I think, will be directly addressed with the violations officer, or if not, will be brought back to.
Yeah, it'll give her time to respond
Or brought
and then
back.
prepare you all for a decision.
Thank you.
Unless there's a negotiation or something done between the two of them in the meeting.
It's an appeal, so it comes in front of the Board of Works.
Okay.
Oh.
So that will come back. We'll move on to other business. I would just like to mention, with COVID numbers increasing, you know, we do not want to affect the economy or have issue. So we do have free COVID testing at the Civic. The state has come up and we've allowed the Civic Auditorium to be used for the month of July, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., free testing. I've understood that the testing may not be as intrusive as the one that many of us were able to enjoy. So I would highly encourage, go to the Civic, test, keep everybody safe, continue to wear mask. Mask Up is a part of the governor's program. We are wearing masks at City Hall, except when we have sneeze guards around us and we're 6 feet away. But please do that and keep everybody safe so we do not affect our community.
On the Civic, will they keep track or totals or tallies for us? Are they doing that through the hospital? I'm just curious how the numbers and the
think it's
data
through the
will be
state.
through the state? Okay.
100 people were, or just over 100 people were tested on day 1.
Wow,
So that's amazing.
that is amazing.
Tim
Grateful
Warner,
for
since
them.
you're new, don't get tested there. We'll have a special test for all new department heads. You get to enjoy the one we all did. But in all seriousness, please do your part, keep us safe. And that was our compromise. We still have business to do on a daily basis with Board of Works, with city council meetings, and we didn't want the public to feel that they weren't a part of that. So we did do, and I want to thank Annette Leffler, the GLUE chief of staff here, that put together a COVID-safe environment for the public, for our meetings. But in turn, you know, there wasn't a reason to open up City Hall because Clerk Treasurer Parthune, Deputy Treasurer Lehman and her team have offered, the majority of people that are coming here are coming to pay a bill. And now they have options outdoors, from home, so they don't have to come in here and still can ask questions. We're available via phone, via email, and I think more technology is coming our way to make it even easier for customers to pay.
Yeah, we're looking to innovate the customer experience, so we are working on a proposal that we'll bring in front of Board of Works for approval with a company called Invoice Cloud, and they are a technology company that will help us be able to take all of our customer portals and combine them into one, our customer payment portals and combine them into one, so that it's easy for people of any age to be able to go online, click one button, and pay, regardless of if you're paying with your credit card, your checking account, your, however you want to pay. I also wanted to note that this month, in this month's utility bill that I'm sure everybody loves to get, now that there's a wonderful pipeline newsletter, we did also send out an automatic debit authorization form. It's bright orange, so you'll see it. It's coming to everybody's home. We already have some response on that. We had, I think, 10 that we got yesterday. So huge response already, and we're excited about that, just to get people automated and in 2020. So.
Stating that, could Jess Bruder stand up, our communications director? Let's give her a little bow, if you don't mind. Appreciate all that work on the pipeline. She is updating us, doing fantastic. All right, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.